As soon as you were reborn, you tore up the marriage agreement with a wealthy family, but turned around and held the hand of your fiance's uncle. Not only did you announce in public that you would remarry an elder, you even threw the necklace that had been your token of love for 10 years into the fountain pool. In front of the floor-to-ceiling window on the second floor of the banquet hall, the man who was supposed to be your future husband was now flirting with your cousin. My mother suddenly asked, "Who do you want to marry?" This time, I didn't mention Simon Hughes, but directly named his uncle Daniel Hughes. When she heard it, her eyes were as big as copper bells, as if I slapped her in the face. After all, everyone in the city knew that Simon and I were inseparable since we were young, like twins. For the past 10 years, I had been chasing Simon like a little tail, telling everyone I met that I would marry him. But now, I am no longer that silly me. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but smile bitterly. The memories before my rebirth came flooding back like a tide. In that life, after Simon and I got married, I realized that he had never touched me. At first, I comforted myself that maybe he had some unspeakable secrets. I made all kinds of excuses for him and told myself that it was no big deal. But later, on our golden wedding anniversary, I accidentally broke into a room I had never seen before. The room was locked and filled with photos of my cousin. At that moment, I finally understood. Simon was not asexual, he just didn't love me. After my rebirth, I decided not to waste my time on someone who would never love me. I decided to fulfill their wishes and let go completely. But when I walked towards Daniel, Simon's face turned pale and he was completely out of control. 3 days after I officially became engaged to Simon Hughes, I ran into him at a party. His friends, of course, jumped at the chance to see me. They were laughing their heads off, clearly making fun of me. "Simon, look who's here, your little follower is here again," one of them shouted with a smile. "Bianca, you're engaged to Simon, why are you still hanging around him? Shouldn't you let him enjoy the party instead of being tied up by you?" Another interrupted. When Simon saw me, his impatience was clearly written on his face. "Bianca," he said coldly, "are you so anxious to marry me? You got engaged without even my consent. Now the whole town is talking about it. You are so brave." His disgust hit me in the chest like a heavy punch. I took a deep breath, calmed myself, and said, "I don't need your consent. I'm not going to marry you." The room erupted in laughter. Simon's friends were so exhausted from laughing that they couldn't even stand up straight. They certainly didn't miss the opportunity to continue teasing. "Simon," one of them shouted, "watch out. Your fiancé is trying to get your attention again." Simon just shook his head, looking increasingly impatient. "Bianca, are you playing hard to get now?" I couldn't help but sneer. "Hughes family? If I don't marry you, who else will marry you?" He leaned closer, his tone full of sarcasm. "Don't forget, you said you would marry me since you were a little girl. The whole city thinks you are mine." Then he whispered, "I can let this engagement go, but don't forget, I can give you a grand wedding, but a marriage certificate? That can only be given to the person I really want to marry." I was stunned. In the previous life, Simon did obey the family arrangement at this moment, and we got the marriage certificate. Is he reborn too? Before I knew it, my cousin Audrey showed up at the party. When she saw me and Simon standing together, her face twisted and tears welled up in her eyes. "Bianca, Simon, I heard you were getting married. I didn't bring any gifts, but I wish you happiness," she stammered, her voice intermittent. Before she could finish her words, Audrey turned and ran, crying as she ran. "Look what you've done, Bianca," Simon muttered to himself, glared at me, and then chased after me without saying a word. When they came back, their fingers were entwined, Audrey's lips were red and swollen, and Simon had a hickey on his neck. The whole room was watching, waiting to see how I would react. In my previous life, if I saw another woman approaching Simon, I would have made a scene and let everyone know that I was his. Simon walked forward, blocking Audrey behind him, with a strange expression of expectation on his face. But I didn't give him the reaction he wanted. After a few minutes, his smug expression began to waver. Then, he sneered, "It seems that you have finally grown up. You are no longer screaming and making a fuss like before." I didn't even bother to respond. After the party, as everyone was leaving, Simon stopped me. "It's late and unsafe. I'll take you there," he said. Since there was a free ride, I didn't refuse. I opened the back door, but Simon was quicker. He blocked the passenger seat and said, "You sit in the back." After that, he gently helped Audrey into the passenger seat, as if it was the most natural thing to do. "I'm sorry, Bianca," Audrey said hypocritically. "Simon is just worried that I might get carsick. Planning to sit anyway." Along the way, Simon and Audrey talked and laughed, as if they were the only two in the car. When waiting for the red light, Audrey asked Simon to help her put on lipstick. They exchanged glances, and the atmosphere in the car instantly became ambiguous. Suddenly, Simon glanced at me in the rearview mirror. When our eyes met, I looked out the window and pretended not to see him. His expression froze. For a second, a flash of anger crossed his face, and then, before I could react, he slammed on the accelerator. When we got home, Simon did something that surprised me. He grabbed my arm again. "Okay, stop pretending," he said disdainfully. "Don't pretend you don't care. That's not like you." Then he stuffed a bracelet into my hand and said, "This is your engagement gift." His tone was full of condescension. "As long as you behave yourself, I will give you a wedding. At least in name, everyone will think you are my wife." I looked up at him. "Who are you going to marry then, Audrey?" There was a flash of anger on Simon's face, but there was a certain smugness underneath, as if he was enjoying the chaos he had created. "I knew you were pretending," he sneered. "Listen, don't even think about telling this to anyone in either family. What happened between Audrey and I has nothing to do with you. She's kind and fragile, not like your little tricks." His voice was low and warning. "If you dare to hurt her, don't think I'll go ahead with this wedding." I couldn't help laughing. He didn't dare to confess to the Hughes family, but he made me the villain in this farce. I said nothing more and turned back into the apartment, feeling suffocated by all the pressure. As soon as I walked in, my phone vibrated. It was a video from Audrey. I hesitated for a moment, but still clicked on it. In the video, Simon was gently helping Audrey put on a necklace. The brand was obvious at a glance. Then, I realized that the bracelet Simon had just given me was a gift for that necklace. They were so close that their necks were almost touching. Then, the camera zoomed in, and they kissed. The sound pierced the silence in the car and hit me like a slap in the chest. "Bianca, Simon must have told you that after the wedding, he will legally marry me. Remind you, without a legal marriage, there is no inheritance right. Looks like it's my turn to become the richest woman in Chongqing City. Audrey, she was also reborn. Everything suddenly became clear. Although Simon and Audrey had nothing to do with each other in the previous life, in this life, in just a few days, they were like a couple. They did everything that lovers would do. It was as if they had a tacit understanding and tried to start again from where they left off in the previous life. I lowered my head, and memories of my past life flooded back to me. I thought about when I first married into the Hughes family. Everything changed right after the wedding. The company began to receive a large number of cooperation invitations, and contracts came one after another. The assets of Hughes Enterprises soared and soon became the richest company in Los Angeles. The elders of the Hughes family firmly believed that I brought good luck to Simon. Strangely, the Hughes family liked me more and more, as if I had really become one of them. Although Simon was indifferent to me, I naively thought I was happy, until I found those photos. One afternoon, my mother walked into my room with unexpected news. "Daniel, Simon's uncle, is coming back from Europe in 5 days," she said. I was stunned, totally caught off guard. In his previous life, Daniel had never been married, and I never expected our arranged marriage to progress so quickly. My memory of Daniel is a little hazy, but one thing is clear. He has always been a good man, like an older brother. Marrying him now seems to give me more peace than marrying anyone else. I don't know why, but when I think of him, I feel inexplicably at ease. The next morning, I woke up early and was busy designing my wedding dress in the studio. I had been thinking about my dream wedding dress since I started studying fashion design at university, but the designs I made before had to suit Simon's taste. He wouldn't let me use anything I liked, everything had to serve him. But now, I am free. I can design a wedding dress that I really like and wear it to marry someone. A few days later, I was finishing up the final touches on my wedding dress and decided to go to the lounge for a cup of coffee. That's when I saw Audrey's post on social media. In the photo, she was wearing my wedding dress, but it wasn't what I had imagined. It had been cut in half and turned into a miniskirt. And to make matters worse, she was dancing next to Simon, their bodies pressed together. Simon knew I needed a dress and sent this one to me. Oh my god, I'm so happy. I couldn't believe my eyes. Anger instantly surged in my heart, and I rushed to the ballroom on the 5th floor without saying a word, so angry that I was about to explode. There they were, Audrey and Simon, dancing as if no one was around, their bodies pressed together, moving to a rhythm that made them feel like the only two people in the world. "This is my wedding dress," I yelled. "How dare you give it to her and ruin it like this?" Audrey immediately began to play innocent, playing the role of weakness and helplessness, with fake tears in her eyes and a trembling voice. "Simon, did I do something wrong? Why is she so angry?" She pretended to be pitiful. Simon, of course, stood in front of me, as if I were a threat. "Bianca, it's just a dress," he sneered. "You'll have to wear it to me at the wedding anyway. What's the big deal? If you care so much, can't you just make a new one?" I was furious. "Who said I wore it for you to see?" I shot back coldly. "This is the wedding dress I will wear at my wedding." Simon scoffed and shook his head, as if I were a naive child. "Come on, Bianca, stop pretending. Your wedding is our wedding. I've already promised to marry you. There's no need to act. Enough. I've had enough." I caught sight of the scissors on the table, grabbed them, and went straight to Audrey's skirt. Without hesitation, I cut open the hem and cut a piece of fabric from her leg. "Simon," I said coldly, each word carrying weight, "if you are so confident, then watch out. I will not accept anything dirty, and I will not let this dress be stained." Simon was stunned, his eyes wide open. In the past, no matter how I acted, whether naughty or willful, he had never seen me like this. He had never seen me so serious, so determined. His instinct made him reach out to stop me, but before he could move, Audrey's sharp voice broke the tense atmosphere. "Simon, my leg. I think I scratched it. It hurts, but leave me alone and take care of her. This is all my fault." Simon hesitated, his eyes moving back and forth between me and Audrey. After a few long and depressing seconds, he sneered, his tone full of contempt. "Leave her alone. An insecure woman like her needs to be taught a lesson. Maybe it will make her reflect." I was speechless. My body went numb and my heart felt like it was sinking. I just stood there, watching my wedding dress, the one I had poured so much love into, gradually disintegrate in my hands. The delicate fabric unraveled, just like everything in my life. I wiped away my tears silently and tried to control my emotions, but everything I had lost hit me like a train. All my efforts, all my hopes, were gone in an instant. If a wedding dress can help me see the true nature of a person, then maybe I should be thankful. After all, I finally saw Simon for what he really was, no more illusions. Tonight is a family dinner and I will officially meet Daniel. First impressions are crucial and I knew I had to be at my best. I didn't want to give anyone the chance to doubt me, especially after what happened with Simon and Audrey. I quickly gathered myself together and gave myself a pep talk. When I was ready, I headed for the underground parking lot. Just then, I noticed Simon's Maserati swaying slightly in the distance. Curiosity drove me closer, but my stomach churned as I peered through the half-open window. There they were, Simon and Audrey. She lay on his lap, her eyes half closed, moving up and down. Even though I knew Simon didn't love me, seeing this was like a punch in the chest. For a moment, our eyes met. A flash of panic flashed across his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by a familiar sneer. To further stimulate me, he gently pushed Audrey's hair aside and kissed her deeply, slowly, and exaggeratedly. Audrey's seductive moans echoed in the garage, deliberate and harsh. I turned around, trying to keep a straight face, and got into my car. I had more important things to deal with tonight. On the way to the Hughes house, I stopped by the shop to buy a gift for Daniel, a fancy silk tie. When I arrived, I was surprised to see Simon had just arrived. When he got out of the car, I could clearly see used condoms scattered on the passenger seat. How elegant. For a moment, when he saw the gift bag in my hand, a trace of embarrassment flashed across his face, but soon, that expression was replaced by his usual smugness. "The gift for me?" he drawled, taking a step closer to me. "Let me see." I hid the bag behind my back so he wouldn't touch it. "It's not for you," I said coldly. Simon sneered and exhaled a puff of cigarette, as if I was not worth his time. "Did you see what happened in the garage?" he said lightly. "I know you are obsessed with me, but I told you a long time ago, the wedding is yours, but the marriage certificate is Audrey's. She is the one who was wrong." He leaned in closer, his arrogance becoming more obvious. "What we just did was perfectly normal. She is my legal fiancé after all. Oh, and by the way, our marital home? She might come over and stay for a night or two occasionally. You'll have to get used to it sooner or later. This is for your own good. I couldn't believe the audacity of this man. Even though I had decided not to marry him, I didn't expect that he would flaunt his infidelity so blatantly in front of me. I turned to go, but of course he grabbed my arm again. Listen, he lowered his voice. My uncle is coming to the dinner tonight. He's very important to the family, so this is a big deal. I'm asking you to come because I'm giving you face. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. One more thing, if my grandfather and father ask about the marriage license, you just say we've already registered it, understand? Also, you have to apologize to Audrey for her injury this afternoon after the dinner. Don't forget that. I can change my mind at any time before the wedding officially takes place. After saying this, he swaggered into the Hughes mansion as if he had not made a fool of himself just now. I breathed a sigh of relief and clenched the gift bag in my hand. Alright, I told myself, he'll soon find out who I'm marrying. Most of the elders of the Hughes family were already sitting in the restaurant. Daniel hadn't arrived yet, so I quietly found a seat away from Simon and left an empty seat next to him. Simon noticed it immediately, frowned, and a hint of displeasure flashed across his face. He stood up and sat next to me, his tone full of annoyance. You've been acting more and more lately, he whispered, glancing at the empty seat next to me. There's a seat reserved for you over there. What are you trying to do? I was too lazy to pay attention to him and was about to tell him that the position was not reserved for him when a tall and majestic figure appeared at the door. Daniel walked into the restaurant, his well-tailored suit perfectly accentuating his figure. He walked steadily, exuding calmness and confidence with every step.